Hi everyone and welcome back to another YouTube video. I am super excited for this tutorial. I'm not gonna go into details. I'll see you guys in the video. So enjoy the next few clips. Just digest this particular pattern because I have no words. I hope you guys did digest that particular look. I hope you digested it well. Well, let's get right into the tutorial. As always, I'm going to leave all the materials used down below in the description box, so check them out and get your materials ready. I am using a 3 millimeter and a medium weight yarn. You can go for whatever color choice, guys. I'm actually excited about the color choices. I can just imagine what color you guys are going to make. I would suggest you make this in a two shade, like, because it's just you guys already see how it looks. We are going to get started with a foundation chain, which is going to be the length, and this length is going to be from your armpit area down until wherever you want your dress to stop. So you're not taking the length from your shoulders, you're taking this from your armpit area down to wherever you want this to stop. For my length, I ended up chaining a total of 120 chains. So if you want to go for the same length, and for reference, I'm a 5'6", so if you want to go for the same length and we are the same height, you can go ahead and chain 120 chains. So after you chain, mine obviously looks way short because I did not want to make the 120. We are going to chain an extra one and we are going to go into the second chain with the half double crochet stitch. So this pattern is worked with half double crochet and a double crochet, just in case you want to know. They are super simple. So you're going to yarn over, insert your crochet hook into the chain. You're going to grab your yarn and pull through all three chains. So you're going to continue to do this with one half double crochet into every chain, making sure you're not skipping any chain, because if you skip a chain, you are going to have a shorter dress. So don't skip a chain, take your time and go into every single chain with one stitch until you get to the very end of this first row. And after your first row, you should just have a basic half double crochet stitch. For the next row, we are going to chain one and turn and do the same exact step, but this time around we are going into the back loop. So if you take a look at your stitches, you have a front and a back loop. You're going to yarn over and go into your first back loop with your first half double crochet stitch, and of course you're going to continue to go into every stitch with one half double crochet until you get to the very end. Just the same thing we did at row 1, making sure you're not skipping any stitch, because again, if you skip a stitch, you are going to end up with a shorter dress. So count your stitches if you have to. If you're a beginner, I will suggest to use a stitch marker to mark your very first stitch, just so you know exactly where to start and where to end. So you're going to repeat this for row 2 until you get to the very end of this row as well. And of course, you want to make sure that you go into that very last half double crochet from the previous row, because if you skip that, again, repeating myself for the third time, you're going to have a shorter dress. Chain one for row 3 and you're going to repeat the same thing you did for row 2, which is a half double crochet into the back loop into every stitch from the previous row, making sure you're not skipping any stitch, and you're also not adding any stitch to, you're not adding an extra stitch. So you're not adding an extra stitch, you're not skipping any stitch. This is what you're going to repeat for a total of 7 rows, because the pattern is worked in sets. So in this particular pattern, you guys know, if you watch my tutorials, you know I love saying sets because it's just way easy for us to just communicate, for me to communicate to you guys. So in this pattern, a set is going to be 7 sets of half double crochet stitches. So you're going to continue with your first yarn choice, your first yarn color, until you have a total of 7 rows of half double crochet stitches, and then I'll see you guys in the next clip and show you what the next step is. So we are coming to the end of the first set. You are going to cut off your yarn and grab your second color if you decide to use more than one color. If you did not, it's fine. You're just gonna stay right there and wait for me until I tell you guys what the next step is. Because I'm going to switch my yarn, I usually just like to just not finish my last stitch and grab the new yarn. So I will finish my last stitch with the new yarn, which you guys will see what I mean by that. Right there, I'm going to grab my new yarn over and pull through. That way, I am actually going to get my new yarn ready for the next row, which is going to be row 8. And that is going to be the next set. So, and the next set of 7. But before we get that done, we are going to chain 15. This is going to be the chain for the strap that goes all the way up to your shoulders. You're going to go ahead and chain 15 and turn. After turning, you're going to yarn over and go into your second chain with your first half double crochet stitch, and you're going to go ahead and continue to insert one half double crochet stitch until you get to the end of this chain. From this clip, you guys can see that I do have more than 15 chains, but that was one of the mistakes that I made. And if I'm going to remake my, which I will obviously, when I decide to remake this, I am going to shorten the straps because the straps were a little bit too long. So that's the reason why I did say chain 15, even though you guys can see from this clip that I do have more than 15 chains. But ignore that and just continue to insert one half double crochet until you get to the end of your chain. Coming to the end of your chain, you are now going to continue your half double crochet into the body of the panel. So right there, you're going to go into the back loop because now we have a previous row. So you're going to go into the back loop, but I'm going to grab my brown yarn so I can go above that with my stitch just so I can secure that yarn before I move on to the next one. So I'm just going to continue to insert one half double crochet in the back loop this time around until I get to the very end of this row. Again, we are not increasing and we are not decreasing, which means we need to insert one half double crochet stitch into every stitch from the previous row, and that is how you're going to finish off row 8 before we get started with the next row. And your work should look like this. At this point, we have 8 rows. For row 9, you're going to chain 1 and turn, and you're going to go into your very first stitch right into the back loop with your first half double crochet. And just the same way you did row 8, you are going to continue to insert one half double crochet into every stitch from the previous row until you get to the very top of your panel. And of course, when I say the very top of your panel, that also includes your straps now, because the extra chain that we chain is now part of your panel. So you're going to continue to do that until you get to the very top, which includes the 15 chain that you chained on row 8. Right before I forget, I did mention that a total of 7 rows is what a set is. But because of the strap, we are going to be using a set of 6 as well. So for the strap rows, we are going to be having 5. So right after your 5 rows, you are going to end off your 6th row by going into that very last stitch with a half double crochet stitch. And to know exactly where your last stitch has to be, that is basically where you did chain your 15. So you're going to count your stitches from the top downwards until you have your 15th chain, and you're going to end off your row there. From there on, you're going to cut off your yarn. That leaves us with a total of 6 rows with the second color, but that's just because we're working on the strap. So which means when we're working on the opposite strap, we are also going to stick with 6 rows instead of 7 rows. Now you're going to grab your next color, whatever color that is for you. In my case, it's the dark brown, of course. And I'm going to just go ahead and attach that to the crochet hook because that is going to be my next yarn. And I'm going to chain one because I'm about to start a new row. And right into the very first stitch, I am going to insert my first half double crochet stitch for this new set. And of course, I like to grab my excess yarn and go over that with my next few stitches just so I can secure that and I can easily just cut that out. So I'm just gonna continue like you guys see me doing by inserting one half double crochet until I get to the very end of this row. And for this particular color, we are going to still stick to the 7 set. Like I said, the only reason why we're using 6 set for the strap is just because 5 is already too wide, and we have to, of course, get down to where we ended off with where we started with the length. So we have to do an additional one, which makes it 6. That's the only reason why we're doing 6 instead of 7. But if you still want to use 7, you can. But I think the strap is already wide with 5 rows, so you don't have to. I'm just going to repeat this until I get to the very end. And of course, when I get to the end, I'm going to chain one and make my way up back to the top. And of course, like I said, I'm going to do this for a total of 7 sets. So until I have a total of 7 after double crochet rows with this color. Hey guys, so I just finished the first my after double crochet stitches, and I'm about to do the next strap. So you guys can see that we have a strap going on here. And the next color is of course this burnt orange. But I just wanted to show you guys what it looks like. So you can see that I did a total of 3 sets. So again, in this pattern, a set is basically this bulk of after double crochet, 7 after double crochet by each color. So we have 1, 2, 3. I am now going to do my next strap, my second strap, sorry. And honestly, this is okay for me because if you can see that from there to there, because of the strap I have on, you can easily just see that I already reach. It actually reaches this side. I don't want to bring it all the way to the side because then the strap will be falling off. I want the strap to be very fitted and firm. So I'm going to just stop there. And if you're making the size smaller, I already told you all you have to do is just reduce the amount of rows you're doing and increase if you're doing a size bigger. So now I am going to reattach my yarn, and I'm going to chain the same amount I chained on the side. So remember, I chained a total of 35 chains. I am going to chain 35 on this side, and I'm going to of course go down into the row with after double crochet stitches. And for the strap, remember I did a total of 5 rows instead of 7. I am still going to keep that same amount and do a total of 5 rows on this side as well. And honestly, just the same exact thing I did on this side is the same thing I'm going to do on the side. And of course, because we have one more brown on this side, I want to make sure that after I do my second strap on the opposite side, I am still going to switch back to this dark brown color to finish off the pattern. And I should have something like this, I think. I like the color. I think the colors just look so good on my skin. And when you have your panel complete, this is what it should look like. And of course, when you put this across your body, you can see that we have the perfect measurement going on. So you're now going to repeat this for another 1 set, obviously, because we need a back and a front panel. And when you have both complete, of course, you have to make sure that it's the same length, and the strap also has to be the same length. So you're chaining the same amount of chains around the strap, and also this has to be the same exact length. Everything has to be the same exactly. You're not doing anything different, guys. Do the same thing when you have two. I'm gonna show you guys what the next step is. But look at how cute this color combination is. I love it, actually. I love it. I'm just gonna repeat and do mine, and then I'll show you guys tomorrow or whenever I have time what the next step is. But for now, we have this one complete. Hey everyone, it's the next day. I think 2 days later, It's taking me an entire week to finish this thing, which is fine. But I have my two panels ready. I want to show you guys what it looks like before we go to the table and do the next step, so you can make sure you are on the right path instead of just going directly to the table, not knowing what you need and what you don't need. I have my back and my front panel complete. Right here is the one. Let me grab the second panel, and right here is the second panel. For the attachment, we are going to be needing a measurement, and this measurement is basically from your armpit area down to your waist, to the lower part of your waist. So basically where your hips start, that is going to be the measurement, so lengthwise. And you can put your panel on and see exactly where you want the side panels to fall, or you can take again the measurement that I just mentioned, which is basically from your armpit area down to your lower waist, and that is what you're going to use to measure on your panel. So basically from the very top downwards, whatever measurement that is for you. For me, I think it was about 18 inches, so that honestly depends on how your body looks, and that is going to be different for everybody. So don't use my number and just take your own measurement, or put the panel across your body and mark that with a stitch marker. When you have that marked, you are now going to grab your yarn and you're going to attach that to the very top and single crochet your way down until you get to the marked area. You're not single crocheting all the way down to the very end. You're not attaching your panels all the way down to the very end, guys. You're just using that measurement that I just mentioned to do the attachment, which means you're going to have the lower part of your panels opened. And of course, you should have something like this. Again, like I said, there is an opening at the bottom, so you should keep the opening. Do not close this all the way to the very end, because we will. You guys already see what the design looks like. So don't close it all the way to the very end. Make sure you do secure your last stitch with, if you have to go back into that stitch with an extra single crochet or an extra slip stitch, whatever stitch you decide to use as attachment, then do so, because you want to make sure that last stitch is super secure, so that way it will not unravel later on. So secure both ends, and do the same thing on the shoulders with the straps. Do the exact same thing with the straps. So you're just going to grab the color, the same color, and you're going to slip stitch, single crochet, or use a needle to attach both straps together. And you want to make sure that your panel is still on the wrong side, which means the two seam that you just created on each side is going to align with the seam that you're about to create around the straps. So at the end of the day, when you flip this over, you are going to have your good side and your wrong side. Literally, that's it. Do that and I'll show you guys what the next step is. And now we are about to create the side panels. We are going to work on these panels separately and later on attach that to the main panel. So make a slip knot, and still with your same crochet hook you are going to chain a total of 30 chains. And this is going to be the foundation of the panel, and it's going to be the same for every size. So if you're making a small, you're going to chain 30. If you're making a medium, if you're making a large, if you're making an extra large, you are going to chain the same chain. After your chain, I like to just chain an extra one. So right into the second chain, you are going to yarn over and insert your first double crochet stitch, and you're going to yarn over and go back into that same stitch with another double crochet stitch, yarn over, go back into that same with another double crochet stitch, and you're going to do that for the last time. So in total you should have 4 double crochets all into your very first chain. Yarn over and insert 4 double crochets into your next chain, and yarn over and insert 4 double crochets into your next chain. And this is going to be the increase pattern for your very first row. So continue to insert 4 double crochets into every chain until you get to the very end of your first row. And you should have something like this after your first row. Of course it looks funny now, but it's going to fall into place. It's going to look exactly how it should look. Chain one, turn, and start the next row by going into your very first stitch with another after double crochet stitch. Sorry, you're going to go into your very first stitch with a double crochet, yarn over and go back into that same stitch with another double crochet stitch, and that's going to be the second increase pattern. So right into your next stitch you are going to insert 2 double crochet stitch. Into your next stitch you're going to insert 2 double crochet stitch all into the same stitch, and this is what you're going to repeat for the row 2 until you get to the very end. And of course you want to make sure that you continue that increase pattern till the very end. Do not skip a stitch, do not skip any increase pattern, because whatever you do on this first panel you are going to do on the second, and you want the panel to be the same exact step with the same exact stitches. So if you skip a stitch here, you're going to have one panel smaller than the other, and I'm sure you don't want that. For the next row, which is row 3, we are going to get started by chaining 1 and turn, and right into our very first stitch we are going to insert 1 double crochet. This and the rest of the row that you're about to create does not involve any increasing at all, so you're going to insert 1 double crochet into every stitch until you get to the very end, making sure you're not skipping any stitch, but at the same time you're not inserting more than one. And the reason is because you want to remember what you're doing so you can do the same exact thing, so you can have the same exact panel, the same exact result for the second side panel. Continue to do this until you get to the end of row 3, chain 1, and continue to do this until your panel is long enough. Nice. The weather is so nice outside, and I should be outside, but I'm in here, literally inside my studio, crocheting. But yeah, I just finished the side layer, one of the side layer, because obviously we need 2, and this is what mine looks like. This should be the length of the opening at the side, right? So remember we did leave the 2 sides open, so this has to be the length of the opening. For mine I think I did a total of 2, 4, 6, 8 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25 rows in total. Now I am going to repeat the same exact step for the second side panel, because obviously we need two sides panel, and I'm going to use the same color. Of course, I'm going to chain the same amount of chains, which is 30, and then I'm going to do the first row of increase, the second row of increase, and I'm going to just go ahead and do the rows until I have a total of 25 rows, because it needs to be the same length as well. So I'm going to do that. When I have both complete, I'll come and show you guys how we're going to attach this to the front and the back panel. Let's attach this first panel to our main panel so we can just finish this off, because I am tired. But yeah, we are going to attach this first panel, and you're going to of course use the same exact method to attach your second panel to your main panel. So to attach our panel, we are going to fold the side panel into two so we can get the center, because that is going to be the guide that we are going to use to make sure we evenly attach that to this main panel. So grab the center of your side panel, and then you're going to align that to the seam area that actually connects your front and your back panel together, where the opening is, and that is where you're going to that is exactly where you're going to attach your side panel at the center. This way you're going to have your left panel and your right panel, and you're also going to have a left and a right panel on your side panel. Remember, we did work a full panel, but we're basically dividing that right at the center so we can attach the half of the front panel to the half of your side panel, while we attach the back panel to the half of your side panel, if it makes sense. You want to make sure that you secure that knot super tight, super tight, because that's honestly the foundation for what we're about to do. Right there, like I just explained, I am going to now go ahead and attach one side of my main panel, or my front panel, to the side panel. That way, again, like I said, this is just going to make sure that you're evenly distributing the stitches around. Also, you are going to squeeze in. Remember, we chain 30, right? So at this point you should actually have 15 stitch to the left and 15 stitch to the right. So we did increase for the very first row, but you're going to go into those very first 15 chains that we made. And if you look at the clip wall, you can see that I am going into the same space on my brown panel while I'm moving on my side panel. This way I'm inserting 3 stitches into one space. Just the same, see the way I'm picking up the stitches so you guys can see the chains. So those are the stitches that I'm going into the chain. So I'm not going into my double crochets that I made for the very first row, because remember we did increase, which means I have loads of those. So I'm going into the chains that we made for the very first row, and I'm making sure that I'm inserting 3 chains into one stitch on my main panel, which is basically the stripe panel with the set of 7. So that is honestly how you're going to attach this. I don't know if you guys understand exactly what I'm saying, but if you don't, please look, because you can see very well that I'm taking my time by going into those stitches, those chains, making sure that I attach that secure, super secure. You can see that I'm using a single crochet for that. That way I am going to attach that very big space to a very tiny spot on the panel, because at the end of the day we still have a long length to single crochet with the remaining sides of the panel, if it makes sense. Guys, just look, I'm just going to put some music behind this and let you guys see exactly what I'm doing, because I cannot find the right words to explain exactly what I mean. If you got it, it ain't a question. Oh, it ain't no room for guessing. No more than emotionally invested. Showing you all my imperfections. Oh, if I let you, don't take me for granted. Yeah. If I were more than you could manage. Yeah. All the money, all we could be honest. Closer to me, all
fire. And yes, I call a shot. I am the umpire. I sprinkle holy water upon the vampire. In this very moment, I'm king. In this very moment, I slay Goliath with the sling. This very moment, I put it on everything. That I will retire with the ring. And I will retire with the crown. Yes, no, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. Yes, clap for the heavyweight champ, me. But I couldn't do it all alone. We, young money raised me. Grew up out in Paisley, Southside Jamaica, Queens, and it's crazy. Cause I'm still hood, Hollywood couldn't change me. Shout out to my haters, sorry that you couldn't phase me. Ain't being cocky, we just vindicated. Best believe that when we done this moment, we'll be syndicated. I don't know, this night just remind me of everything they deprived me of. Put your drinks up. It's a celebration every time we link up. We done did everything they could think of. Greatness is what we on the brink of.
Holding me tight, loving me right, giving me life all night. You could be telling me lies, making me cry. Missing my time the whole time, so just be careful what you take for granted. Yeah. You could do damage. You could do damage.
Bow, bow, bow to me, drop down to your knees.
And of course, you are going to make sure you seal that end and sew in the loose ends. And guys, that's honestly how you attach this. I hope you guys were able to see exactly what I was trying to explain. But if you have any questions, please leave them down, or you can reach out to me through Instagram and send me some pictures if you get lost along the way, and I can find time to explain things better. But yeah, I'm just gonna sew in the loose ends, and I'm going to reattach my yarn at the center again, because now we have one side complete but the opposite side is still open. So now if you open your panel, you can see that one side has been attached, but if you move to the other side, there's still an opening right there. So what you're going to do is the same exact step. You are going to reattach your yarn at the center right there, and you're going to do the same thing, making sure that you are attaching your very first 15 chains before you get to the edge into a very tiny space on the brown panel, guys. Literally so tiny. The same exact thing you did on the opposite side. And then you're going to just do the same thing by attaching the edge. From the edge downwards, you're going to attach from to the panel. So reattach your yarn, do the same exact step. I'm also going to put another music behind this. So just watch, learn, take your time. If you have to do this again and again, it's fine. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, and just take your time to get this right. And I'm sure when you get this right, you are going to be super, super proud, and I'm going to be super, super proud of you as well. I'll see you guys in a bit.
But outside I keep it quiet. You honestly, I'm not always so the lowest. But then you can keep it like nobody knows it. Stay out the way. I need you to get the fuck out my space. Replacements on the way, please don't play. Pussy spin like a great escape. I need a new trick, gold eyes don't change. I'm fucking, I ain't making love no more. Cause I didn't do this, what the fuck you crying for? I'm moving stuff, it's calling on my favorite hoe. How to reach me every time that it pays you right. Rise up and fly, but committed a crime. Way up along the most sacred spot. I can't be outside cause I'm not against the plan. Am I on your mind? Wherever you are, don't call me. So I'm out the loop, I'm out of range. Putting on a suddenly, I like to get it poppin'. But these bitches in my business got me out here choosing violence. If you see me out in public, you don't know me, keep it silent. In the bedroom, I be screaming, but outside I keep it.
And guys, that's it. I honestly enjoyed watching that clip. I just thought it was so satisfying to just watch with the music at the background. But yeah, you're going to just sew in all your loose ends at this point on one side. You can also just keep this entire process and do this when you're complete, when you're done. But right there, I'm just sewing all the loose ends, and you can see that we have one panel attached. You're now going to grab your second panel, your side panel if it's complete, and do the same exact step on the opposite side of the panel. You want to check if the length on both panel is the same. I mean, so when you attach the second panel, it's going to align around the same area, guys. So I'll say recheck that, because if you attach the second panel and it doesn't sit the same way it should, you would have to take that all over again, and I wouldn't want you guys to go through that stress. Super stressful. So do the rechecking, grab your measurement tape, put the panel on. There are so many different ways you can check to make sure that you are on the right path. But do that before you attach your second panel so you can avoid that mistake. So do that, and I'll show you guys what my final look looks like, because at that point we are done. Super excited, we're done. And this is it, guys. I was so happy when I finished this panel. So now you can grab your scissors. We are still on the wrong side of the panel, so we have not really like flipped this over yet to see the beauty of everything. But just cut off all your loose ends. Make sure you sew them in first before you cut them off, because if you just cut them off, you're going to have a blunt cut, which means the possibility of it unraveling is super high. So sew in your loose ends first before you cut them off, and do that on the wrong side. So when you eventually turn this over, you are going to have a super neat, super neat piece. But yeah, this is the final look. Let me know what you guys think. This is honestly my style, and I know most of you guys love this style. You love, that's the reason why you subscribe, that's the reason why you're part of this crochet community. Let me know what you guys think in the comment. Also tag me on Instagram, because again, like I said from the beginning of this video, I'm so excited to see the colors you guys are going to go in for. I was tagged in a picture last week with blue, and the pattern looked so good on her, and I was like, God, the color was just made for you. So I'm always just excited to see the colors you guys go for, because I hardly go for like bright colors. That's just because that's my style. But I love when you guys just go in and go out of the way and just say, okay, I'm gonna make this in a different color. I just love to see it. So please tag me on Instagram or Facebook so I can see, and also on TikTok as well. And I would love to know how many of you actually make it to the end of this video. So if you can please comment N in the comment, maybe with a wink emoji or something, so I know. I appreciate you guys so much. The pattern will be up on my Etsy, so if you want to support me in your little way, please grab the pattern. Including all my different patterns will be up on my Etsy store as well. And if you like this video, as always, please like, comment, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and I will see you guys next week for next week's video. I love and appreciate you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your week and stay blessed. Bye bye and take care. Bye.